Today we're going to talk about why Moses struck the rock twice and why it matters. I have a lot of good stuff in here, so please stick around. Here we go. Moses striking the rock twice wasn't a small mistake, it was the distortion of the gospel itself, and I will explain that. We're referring to two stories in the Bible. I'm not going to read both of those stories because they're a little bit lengthy. The first story is in Exodus 17, 1 through 7. The second story is in Numbers 27 through 12. So if you guys want to go to those stories, pause the video, whatever, go to those stories to see exactly what we're talking about here, you're more than welcome to. And again, it's about Moses striking the rock twice. So we're going to go over the symbol and what the meaning is. So the first symbol is the rock, and the meaning of the rock is Christ. So Moses struck the rock, so Moses struck Christ. The second symbol is the water, and the meaning of that is life, salvation, and the Spirit. The next symbol is the first strike, and the meaning of that is the cross once, and we'll explain that later. Speaking later, and that the meaning of that is faith, prayer, and relationship. The second strike, the meaning of that is religion and re-crucifying grace. So there are two similar but distinct moments in Israel's wilderness journey. The first event is in Exodus 17, 1 through 7. God tells Moses to strike the rock. Moses obeys, the water flows, and the people are saved. First event goes off without a hitch, right? The second event, Numbers 27 through 12. God tells Moses to speak to the rock. Moses strikes it twice instead. Water still flows, but Moses is disciplined and barred from entering the promised land. And that difference is the key. So Paul explicitly says that the rock is Christ. 1 Corinthians 10:4. They drank from the spiritual rock that followed them, and the rock was Christ. So biblically, the rock equals Christ, the water equals life, provision, salvation, and the wilderness equals fallen humanity. Why striking the rock once matters. The first striking represents Christ being struck once. He was pierced for our transgressions, Isaiah 53:5. Christ was offered once for all, Hebrews 9:28. So when Jesus said, "It is finished," that means it is finished. There's no more work that needs to be done. We don't need to re-crucify Christ over and over again. When Moses struck the rock the first time, it symbolized the cross. From Christ's suffering flows living water, and grace comes without human effort. And Jesus echoes this in John 4:14. Whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. And why was striking the rock twice a serious error? By the second event, God changed the instructions. Speak to the rock, do not strike it again. Why? Because Christ does not need to be re-crucified. After the cross, salvation flows by faith and confession, not by repeated sacrifice or punishment. When Moses struck the rock twice, he misrepresented God, distorted the gospel message, turned grace into force, and turned relationship into ritual. And this is key right here. God took this seriously because leaders shape how people understand him. God took this seriously because leaders shape how people understand him. So if you guys don't get anything out of this video, it's important who you have as your leader because it's going to shape how you understand God. They were trying to get from God what he already gave by grace. The first time the rock was struck in Exodus 17, the second time God said, "Speak to the rock" in Numbers 28. Striking it again represents trying to earn what was already provided. Striking it again represents acting like grace must be forced out of God. We don't need to do anything to earn grace. Grace is free. God gives grace freely. The rock only needed to be struck once. Christ only needed to die once. What does this look like today? begging God to forgive sins he already forgave. What does this look like today? Living as if we must suffer more to be accepted, and punishing ourselves for failures Christ already covered. In John 19:30, Christ says, "It is finished." Hebrews 10:14 says, "By one offering he has perfected forever those who are being sanctified." The law versus grace. Why Moses was disciplined. Moses represented the law. The law can strike, the law can expose sin, but the law cannot bring people into the promised land. Only Yeshua leads people in. That's not accidental, it's theology in narrative form, replacing trust with frustration. Moses was angry with the people, but God still provided water. Still, Moses represented God as angry when God was being merciful. Again, still, Moses represented God as angry when God was being merciful. We hit the rock twice when we let irritation replace obedience. We hit the rock twice when we minister from frustration instead of faith. We hit the rock twice when we speak about God instead of from God. The anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God. That's in James 1:20. Treating Jesus like he needs to be sacrificed again. Jesus was struck once. Christ was offered once to bear the sins of many. There no longer remains a sacrifice for sins. Hebrews 10:18. When we strike the rock again, we live as if the cross wasn't enough. When we strike the rock again, we preach performance instead of promise. When we strike the rock again, we put people under the law instead of pointing them to grace. When we strike the rock again, we put people under the law instead of pointing them to grace. The cross was sufficient the first time. Speaking to people instead of the rock. God told Moses to speak to the rock, not scold the people. We hit the rock twice when we vent horizontally instead of praying vertically. We strike the rock twice when we complain publicly instead of speaking privately to God. We strike the rock twice when we try to control people instead of trusting God. Psalms 62:8, pour out your heart before him. And this is the gospel's big picture. This is key here, guys. The first strike was the cross. The second strike was unbelief in what the cross already accomplished. Water still comes out, but Moses lost the promised land, not because God is harsh, but because leaders shape how people see God. In Psalms 106:33, it says, "They made his spirit grieve." We hit the rock twice whenever we add effort to grace. We hit the rock twice whenever we add law to freedom. We hit the rock twice whenever we add guilt to forgiveness. And we hit the rock twice whenever we add striving to faith. The mature faith move is not striking harder, it's speaking softly. In Hebrews 6:6 it says, "They crucify the Son of God all over again." And this is why it matters today. Many churches still strike the rock twice again and again when they add rules, threats, and shame. When they treat grace like it must be earned. But God says, the rock has already been struck. Now we speak, now we ask, now we trust, and now we drink freely. In Revelation 22:17 it says, "Let anyone who is thirsty come without cost." Moses striking the rock twice wasn't a small mistake, it was a distortion of the gospel itself. So we have to ask ourselves a couple questions, right? Are we striking the rock twice? Are we trying to crucify Christ over and over again? Christ was crucified once. God gives us grace. We just need to accept the grace. The question for you today is, are you striking the rock twice? Christ only needed to die once. Grace is given freely. We accept it and we move on. Thank you guys for watching. You guys have a good day.